Hello everyone, it is Alicia and it is that time of year again to kind of recap our favorite new WW recipes that we tried out during the year of 2024. For those of you that are new, welcome. My husband and I have been doing Weight Watchers on and off since 2010, but much more consistently the last 5 years or so now. We have a lot of old favorite recipes that I still like to make all the time, but I also like to try out new ones or come up with new ones. And then at the end of the year, kind of pick what our favorites out of those new ones were. I've been doing these favorites of the year videos since I believe 2020. So I will be sure to have links to all their previous ones up above and down below, and you can check those out if you want. In this particular video, for favorites this year, I picked 2 dinner recipes and 2 dessert recipes. Now again, this is just a recap of those videos. It's not the full video. That being said, if any of these sound good to you and you want to see the full video on any of these recipes, I will have links to all of them down below in the description box. And if you click on those links, it will take you to that full video where you're gonna find the full list of ingredients, instructions, WW points, calories, macros, additional nutritional info, and additional information. All of that will be in the full video for these recipes. But let's jump into the video and see what our new favorite WW recipes of 2024 were. First up was a copycat of Olive Garden's stuffed chicken marsala lightened up. Now this was a viewer request. They wanted to see if I could do a lightened up version of chicken marsala, and this was just absolutely delicious. It's one that we're definitely going to be making quite a bit in the future because it's just so full of flavor and definitely one of our favorites of the year. So first off, in a medium-sized bowl here, I'm going to add in all my filling ingredients. So first off, I've got half cup Parmesan cheese, half cup mozzarella cheese, half cup Greek yogurt, and green onions, and 2 tablespoons of the sun-dried tomatoes I've chopped up. And I went ahead and just blotted those with a paper towel to get as much of the oil off as I could. A teaspoon red pepper flakes, and teaspoon minced garlic. And then finally, my breadcrumbs. I'm gonna just mix all of that together really well. All right, I've got that mixed together well, so now I'm gonna set that aside and work on my chicken breast. So what I'm gonna do with my chicken breasts is I'm gonna just cut them in half horizontally, but not cut all the way through. Just kind of butterflying them. Like that. So I'm gonna do that with the next 2. I've got those all cut, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some plastic wrap. And I'm gonna take each one of my chicken breasts, lay it on the plastic wrap, cover it with another piece, and then I'm gonna pound this out, and I'm gonna just use a rolling pin because that's how I do it. And I'm just gonna pound this down to about a 1/2 inch thick, or to where it's more evenly thick across the entire thing. So I'll do that with all these and then I'll be back. I've got these all thinned out to where I want them, so now I'm gonna go ahead and salt and pepper all of them. And I'm just doing very light salt. Okay, so now those are ready to go over to the stove. So I've got my large pan here, heating on medium heat. And to that I'm gonna add in a tablespoon of olive oil. Let that get nice and heated in there. I thought that is nice and heated up. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my chicken. And unfortunately, since these are so big, I'm only gonna be able to do one at a time. But I'm gonna just let that cook in there for a few minutes. I just wanna kind of get a browning on it on each side. I've got all of these done, so now I'm gonna turn the heat off on my pan and I'm gonna go take my chicken over and stuff it. I've got a 13 by 9 inch casserole dish here, and I've got my stuffing and my chicken. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take each one of my chicken breasts and I'm gonna just lay it in the pan here. And then I'm gonna put roughly a third of my stuffing mix in here. And I would say that's probably, got it roughly divided into thirds there. And I'm thinking that looks about a half a cup, 2/3 cup actually. And that's probably a little closer to what actually is each one. Take another one and do the same. That stuffing mixture smells really good. So yeah, about 2/3 cup each one. And so now I'm going to fold this over, and then I will do the last one. All right, I've got those stuffed, and I would recommend, if you have toothpicks, to use them to close these and keep them held together better. I do not. I actually had meant to get some at the store last time I was there and I forgot. But now in my oven that I've got preheated to 350, I'm going to go ahead and put these in, and I'm going to just cook them until they reach an internal temp of 165. But while these are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and work on the sauce. Back over here at my same pan that I cooked my chicken in. I didn't wipe it out or anything. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my 3 tablespoons of Brummel and Brown. And my 2 tablespoons of butter. I'll whisk those in there. And now I'm gonna add in my 1 cup wine. And I'm gonna just let this cook in here and continue to whisk it until it starts to thicken up a little bit. I've been whisking this for a couple of minutes now, and it's thickened up pretty well. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my 1/4 cup almond milk I've got measured out here. I'm gonna add my 1/4 cup Greek yogurt to it, and I'm gonna whisk those together. And I've also turned my heat down on my sauce now that I've got it thickened nicely. So I'm gonna temper this by putting it in the microwave for about 20 seconds, just so it's not super cold when I'm adding it into that really hot liquid. Now, I'm gonna just add this slowly in and whisk it in. Again, my heat is on low right now. So I'm gonna just keep continuing to whisk this and let it cook for probably another 5 minutes or so on a low heat. Now that I've let this cook another 5 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and remove it from the heat and grab myself another frying pan. And on medium heat, I'm gonna add in my onions. And I'm gonna just let these cook in here for about a couple minutes. I just wanna give them a little head start on the mushrooms. I've let my onions cook in there a couple minutes. Now I'm gonna add in my mushrooms. And I'm gonna just lightly salt and pepper these. And I'm going to just cook these until they're nice and softened. I'll let these cook in here probably about 10 minutes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my heat down to low. Then I'm going to take my sauce, and it has thickened up quite a bit. I'm going to just add it in to my onions and mushrooms. Or you could add your mushrooms and onions into your sauce, however you want to do it. This is a little bigger pan though, so I'm going to add my sauce in to here and stir that in. And that is looking good. So now we are just waiting on the chicken. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually turn my heat off on this now because I don't want to continue to cook it. And the chicken is almost done. So once that's done, we'll pull it out and assemble this. All right, these took about 35 minutes to reach an internal temp of 165, all of them. A couple of them that were a little smaller hit before that. But 35 minutes is what it took for all of them. And to keep my sauce from getting cold, I went ahead and just covered it with some foil, the pan. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and top these with the sauce. And then I will show you what they look like a little closer up, give you points, all that good stuff. So I'm just topping these with my sauce right in the pan. Now you don't have to do it this way. You could just put the sauce on the individual servings if you want. That would probably be a lot less messy But for simplicity's sake, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on while these are still in the pan. And this sauce is really thick. I don't think it's probably supposed to be this thick. Again, I've never had chicken marsala from Olive Garden, so I'm not sure, but I would think this is a little thick, and so my recommendation for that would be to use only a tablespoon of flour instead of the 2. And that'll thin that out a little bit if you want a thinner sauce than this. And I'll make a note of that in the recipe down below. But here, I've got these all nice and topped. So now I will dish one up and we'll cut into one. All right, I've got one of these plated up, and as you can see, they're already big. So I've got these factored in the recipe builder at 6 servings because I'm gonna be cutting each one of these in half for a serving, because I don't think it's really picking up how big this really is, but it's pretty big. So you could also just use smaller chicken breasts. That would work too. But again, these are huge, and you can definitely get 2 servings out of these, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and cut into this, show you what it looks like inside, and then also kind of show you what a serving would be. All right, hopefully you can see in there a little better. All that nice stuffing. And then this, again, shows the serving size a little better as well, which would be a half. So this stuff smells amazing, I can say that much. I'm gonna give it a little bite because my hubby's not here right now. So I'm gonna give it a little taste first, see what I think of it. And then when he gets back, he can try it. Get a little bit of everything there in that. Well, I did until I lost my onion. That is very, very, very good. I will say though, I'm gonna definitely side on the fact that the sauce is too thick, for me anyway. So the next time I make this, and based on how good that is, I'll definitely be making it again. I'm gonna use a tablespoon of flour instead of the 2, so that my sauce is a little bit thinner than that, because that's a little too thick for me. But the flavors in this are amazing. There is quite a bit of heat from that red pepper, I will say that. So if you're not into heat like that, you might want to lower that amount or not use it at all. I do think it adds a nice little touch though with the heat to it. But again, that filling, ooh, it's very, very good. It's very rich with the different cheeses in there. I can taste the sun-dried tomatoes. It's just very, very good. Definitely, definitely good. And the sauce is good too. I did forget to mention that when you're done making it, to give it a little taste test and see if you need any additional salt, pepper. I didn't to mine, but I usually go pretty low salt on things. So I wanted to point that out as well. But the sauce itself is good. That wine is really good in that. It definitely tastes good in this sauce. And I do think it adds a nice kind of depth to the flavor of the sauce. So I'm glad I went and tracked that down. But yeah, that's very good. So I think I forgot to give the points on this. A half or a serving of this, which again, I've got it factored in at 6 servings, is going to be 6 points. And I don't think that is bad at all. Because again, this is just packed full of flavor from the stuffing to the sauce. Just really, really good. Next up was another copycat recipe, lightened up. And that was for the Alyssa's brand oatmeal bites. I had a viewer ask me if I had a recipe or copycat recipe for those. I did not. In fact, I'd never actually even tried the Alyssa's brand oatmeal bites before that. So I gave them a try. They're really good. They're also really expensive. And so I had a whole lot of fun doing a copycat version, lightened up, of these. They were a whole lot cheaper to make than to buy. And I still think they turned out really delicious and deserving a spot on our favorites of the year. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my flax to my water here. Again, that's 4 tablespoons of flax, or 1/4 cup. I'm gonna just stir that in really well, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just let this sit for a couple minutes. So I've got that all stirred together, so I'm gonna set that aside until I'm ready for it. Next up, I'm gonna get my 1/2 cup or 8 tablespoons of Brummel and Brown melted in the microwave. And then in a large bowl, I'm gonna add in my melted Brummel and Brown, my 1/2 cup Lakanto, 1/2 cup Lakanto maple syrup, 1/2 cup applesauce, teaspoon baking powder, teaspoon ground cinnamon, 2 teaspoons vanilla extract, 1/4 teaspoon salt, and a tablespoon almond milk. Now I'm gonna just whisk all of that together really well. I've got that all whisked together well, so now I'm gonna add in my flax and water mixture, and this has really thickened up quite a bit. So I'm gonna add that in, and I'm gonna whisk that in. I've got that all whisked in. Now I'm gonna add in my oat flour, 2 cups oats, and my 2 scoops of protein powder. And now I'm gonna just stir all of that together. Now that I've got that all stirred together, I'm gonna add in my 1/2 cup dried cranberries and fold those in. Here is how we're looking, and as you can see, that batter is pretty moist. So what I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna set it in my fridge for a little bit to kind of get that to be a little easier to work with. So I'm gonna pop that in the fridge for probably at least 15 minutes just to get it set a little bit up and easier to work with, and then I will be back. I've let this sit in the fridge about 15 minutes. It has gotten a little bit better, not a whole lot, but we're gonna go ahead and just go with this. So here I've got a cookie sheet that I've just lined with some parchment paper, and the recipe says you're gonna do a tablespoon size cookies and you should get 60. Looking at this, I'm thinking that even if I did just do tablespoon size, there's no way I'm gonna get 60 cookies out of this. What I am gonna do is I'm gonna take a tablespoon scoop or a measuring spoon here, and I'm gonna do rounded tablespoons size, and we'll see how many I get. But it says you wanna drop it down and then take your fingers and just kind of press these to flatten them a little bit, which again, this dough is very sticky. So you could use some cooking spray on your fingers to press these down. I'm just gonna kind of do that like that. But I'm gonna go ahead and put as many on here as I can get, press them down a little bit, and then I will be back. Also, I do have my oven preheating to 350 right now. Got these all on here, and I've got 20, and I lightly press them all down. So now what I'm gonna do is bake them in my preheated oven at 350, and the recipe says for 7 to 10 minutes, I believe. But I'm gonna start checking these around probably 5 or 6 minutes just to make sure I don't overcook them. But I will be back once these are done. I let these bake for just about 9 minutes. They were looking done, so I went ahead and pulled them. I'm gonna let them cool on here or sit on here for another couple minutes, and then I'll go ahead and remove them to a cooling rack. But I'm gonna finish up the rest of them on another cookie sheet, and then once I've got these all done, I'll come back, we'll give them a taste, and I will give you points on them. Got some of these plated up. I ended up getting 30 total, so the points on these are gonna be 2 apiece. And I don't know if you can tell the size of these. I think they're, well, I'm pretty sure they're bigger than the Alyssa's. But again, 2 points apiece. We'll give them a taste. See what we think. Oh, I missed you breaking that open. Oh well. What they're looking like inside. They're nice and soft. Let me have just a little piece of there so I can try.
Oat milk cookies are like my top 2, top 3. You know, so the Alyssa's are always really good.
Yeah, those are good.
And these are just, you know, just as good, I think.
I think they're just as good. Now, do they taste identical to them?
No.
No, but then you're also comparing a freshly baked homemade cookie to a store-bought cookie.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to go for the homemade fresh cookie over store-bought anyway, so...
Now that's something I would get in trouble with.
Yeah.
Blow through.
Yeah, those are really good.
Those in a pop.
Ooh, yeah. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Yeah.
So again, are they a dupe? I wouldn't say they're a dupe. Are they really good? Absolutely. Next up was TikTok chicken cobbler, or the viral TikTok chicken cobbler. I saw the viral recipe for this and it looked really good. So I wanted to lighten it up and put my own spin on it. And that's what this is. And we absolutely loved it. Super family friendly, full of flavor, just really great comfort food recipe. First off, I've got my oven preheating to 350. And then here I've got a 13 by 9 inch casserole dish. I'm going to take my Bremlin Brown that I measured out and melted in the microwave. It just took about 30 seconds. And I'm going to pour this on the bottom of my casserole dish. And just kind of get that spread around. Next up, I'm going to take my shredded chicken breast and just kind of spread that on the bottom. Followed by my frozen veggies. Next, I'm going to take some onion powder and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of this on top, probably about a teaspoon. Okay, now I'm going to set that aside. Then in a medium-sized bowl here, I'm going to add in my 2 cups Bisquick and my seasoning. And I'm going to give that a good stir. And I'm going to add in my shredded cheese and my almond milk and stir that all together. That all mixed together, so I'm going to grab my casserole dish and I'm going to pour this on top. Okay, now I'm going to grab myself another medium-sized bowl. I'm going to add in my chicken broth, cream of chicken soup, and teaspoon Old Bay seasoning. I think I said tablespoon, but it is a teaspoon, and I'll have that noted correctly down in the recipe below in the description box. And then I'm going to just mix or whisk all that together. Okay, now I'm going to take this, I'm going to pour it on top of my casserole. And you don't want to stir this in at all, you just pour it right on top. And now I'm going to bake this uncovered in my preheated oven at 350 until this biscuit top has risen and is nice and golden brown. And I saw all kinds of different times for how long this actually takes, depending on the recipe. So I'm going to start checking this around 40 minutes, but I'm guessing it's going to take longer than that. But I will be back once it is done. I let this bake for an hour. The biscuit has risen up, browned a little bit. It's looking done, smelling done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit for a few minutes so it can cool down a little bit, and then we'll cut out a serving and I'll let you know what points are, and we'll also give it a taste. Okay, I've got this factored in at 8 servings. So I cut serving out. That's what it looks like inside, so you can see that. Again, here's a serving, which is 1/8 of the total, and that is going to be 6 points. All right, we're going to have my husband give this a try. I'm actually still fasting right now, so I'll try it later. It's hot. You might want to take a smaller bite. I didn't let it cool probably as long as I should have.
So it tastes very much like chicken and dumplings.
Chicken and dumplings? Yeah, that
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me too much. Say hi, Kiki. There's a cat meowing in the background.
So, really, really good. Very hearty. I mean, that's about your quintessential comfort food combo. Maybe not necessarily put together that way.
6 points.
Yeah.
Did I say that already?
Yeah, well, you said it to me. I don't know if you did on camera. I like it.
You like it?
Uh-huh.
It smells really good. I'm trying to figure out if I overcooked it a little. I think I might have slightly.
Well, it doesn't...
But it looks okay now that you're eating it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not dry or
Yeah.
anything. All right.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. Our final new favorite recipe of the year was for chocolate cherry cheesecake pie. I love no-bake pies. I love all things cheesecake, and I have a lot of different recipes on my channel with both of those things. And so the combination of this was definitely a winner. Plus, we love chocolate and cherries, so this one just had to make it to our favorites list. So first thing I'm going to do is take a Ziploc bag, tear that out, and then I'm going to weigh out my 140 grams of Teddy Grahams. Okay, so I've got those weighed out. Now I'm going to take my Ziploc bag, close it up, and then I'm going to just take this rolling pin. I'm going to break them up with this. Now you could do this in a food processor if you want. I never like to dirty up my food processor for something this small, so I like to use this method. So I'm going to go ahead and break these up, and then I will be back. I've got these nice and broken up, so I'm going to set those aside. Grab myself a bowl here, and I'm going to measure out my 4 tablespoons of the Brummel and Brown and get that melted in here. I just microwave that for 30 seconds. So now I'm going to add in my Teddy Graham crumbs. And my 2 teaspoons Lakanto. Now this isn't a super sweet crust. If you want a sweeter crust, you're probably going to want to up your sweetener amount, but I don't like super sweet, so I just go with the 2 teaspoons. So now I'm going to just mix all of that together. Okay, now I'm going to grab my pie pan. I've got a standard size pie pan here. I'm just going to take my crust mixture, pour that in, and then with my very clean hands, I'm going to press this in to the bottom of my pie pan. All right, I've got this pressed in there pretty well, and I just do the bottom. I don't go up the sides. You can if you want, but I just think it's a whole lot easier to press it into the bottom. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in my fridge while I'm working on the filling for this. So what I'm gonna do for the filling first off is I'm gonna take my cherries, and I'm gonna do a rough chop on these just so they're not whole. So you can cut them in half, quarters, whatever you want to do. I'm going to just kind of cut them roughly in halves. And then that way there's not going to be big chunks of cherry in there. Okay, I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to grab my mixer. So in my mixer here, I'm going to add in my 2/3 cup Greek yogurt and my container of cream cheese, which this is at room temp. I think I forgot to say that, but you do want it nice and soft and room temp. And I'm gonna just whip the 2 of those together really well. I've got those 2 creamed together well, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add in my 1/2 cup Lakanto powdered, my teaspoon almond extract, and my Jell-O. And then I'm gonna just mix all of that together really well. I was stirring this together and realized I forgot to add in my lemon juice. So I'm gonna add in my teaspoon, squeeze lemon juice, and now I'm gonna mix this all together. Got this all whipped together, so now I'm gonna take my bowl off, and I'm gonna add in my whipped topping, and I'm gonna fold that in. And now I've got my cherries here that I went ahead and after I chopped them, I put them back in the strainer because they are still losing liquid. As you can see, that's dripping in there. And you want to get these as liquid free as possible. So now I'm gonna add in probably 2/3 of these, reserving about 1/3 to garnish or put on the top. And then I've got my chips weighed out, and same with those. I'm gonna put probably 2/3 of them in, keeping a third out to garnish with. And then I'm gonna fold both of those in. Okay, now this is ready to go in my pie crust. I've got my crust back out here, so now I'm gonna just take my filling, pour that over the top of it. Smooth that in there. And now I'm gonna cover this with some plastic wrap, and I'm gonna let it sit in my fridge for a good 4 hours. Overnight is probably even better. I always like to do that with these type of pies. I think it just yields a better product when you let them sit a good overnight or 12 hours. But 4 hours is probably gonna be good too. I'll probably be back in 4 hours so I can get this finished up, but I will see you here shortly. I've let this pie sit in the fridge for almost 6 hours. I'm gonna call that good. I'll go ahead and finish it up. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and put my remaining cherries on the top, and I just left those in that strainer so that they would continue to release the rest of the juice, and that way it's not gonna get in my pie and water it down. So I'm gonna just take these, just kind of sprinkle them on the top along with my remaining chips. And that is all there is to this one. So I'm gonna go ahead, cut out a serving, show you what this looks like inside, and give you points. We'll also give it a taste, see how it tastes. Okay, I've cut a piece out of this, which is a serving. You can see it's looking like inside. So I've got this factored in at 9 servings. And so a serving of this is going to be 8 points. We'll go ahead and give this a taste, see what it tastes like. Here's the piece right here. Closer up look. Okay, I got my hubby here right off the exercise bike, so this probably looks pretty good right now. Since you just burned a bunch of calories.
Dessert for him. Is this like a
chocolate cherry? It's a no-bake chocolate cherry cheesecake pie, I believe is what I'm calling it. Yeah, it would have been nice if I could have gotten mini versions of those chips, but if anybody knows if Lily's does a mini version of the chips, please let me know. I don't think they do though. Did you just say, oh man?
I did.
Like it was good?
Oh man.
Okay, hand me that fork because I want to try it too. I just need a little tiny bite. I just ate, so I'm not even hungry right now. Oh, you're not going to give me a bite of my pie? Give me a little tiny bite. Thank you.
Just you wait. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
oh boy.
I mean, I would pay good money for that in a bakery or a restaurant.
Oh man, that's good. Plus, it's pretty, I think. So, as I was telling them in the beginning of this, I think this would be great for Valentine's Day. Chocolate cherry. Mm-hmm. And then, do you remember the strawberry version of this I did? It's been a while since I've made it. That one would be good too, but I think this one's better.
It's
the cherry and chocolate.
It's tart, yeah. It's tart and sweet.
Yeah, that's a really good combination. Oh, I didn't tell you points. So 8 points for this.
That's worth 8 points.
Which is a 9. So it's kind of a small piece, but I think it's worth it too.
I mean, you're getting something that nobody would ever think was Weight Watcher friendly, ever.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well that's a success then. And those were our favorite new WW recipes for the year of 2024. I hope you guys enjoyed. If any of these sound good to you, as I said before, I will have links to the full recipe videos where you're going to find all the information that you need and want for these recipes down in those videos description boxes. I'll have all those links down in the description box of this video. But again, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you as always for watching, and we will see you on the next one.